What do you mean you spent how much on renovations? My voice trembled as I looked across the table at my father. Paul? $25,000, he replied nonchalantly, leaning back in his chair. You wouldn't believe how much better the place looked. Liv, you should really be proud of yourself. I froze, clutching the table's edge as his words hit me. Proud. He was talking as if I'd offered to pay for this project myself. That's my credit card, Dad. You stole from me, Paul shrugged, his smug smile unwavering. Stole is a bit much. Liv, we're a family. It's not like I took it from a stranger. Besides, you've got a good job. You'll make it back in no time. The nerve of his words left me speechless for a moment. My father had always put himself first, but this was a new low I never thought he'd sink to. My name's Olivia, and I've spent my adult life building a career I'm proud of. I'm a financial analyst. Saving money is second nature. For me, over the past 6 years, I'd worked relentlessly to build a stable future. That $25,000 wasn't just spare change, it was years of discipline, skipped vacations, and careful planning. Paul, on the other hand, was the polar opposite. He loved to talk big, dream bigger, and spend without restraint so long as it wasn't his own money. Growing up, I learned quickly that he could justify anything. Borrowing things he never returned, brushing off debts, turning every favor into a punchline. Relax, it's just family, he'd always say. But this time, I wasn't laughing. Do you even understand what that money meant to me? My voice shook with anger. Do you even care that you stole from your own daughter? Paul rolled his eyes, as if I was the one being unreasonable. Stop being dramatic. It's just money. Live. I had some things around the house that needed fixing, and you were in a spot to help. You didn't ask me, I snapped. You took my credit card without telling me. That's theft, not helping. He just shrugged again, finishing his wine. Well, what's done is done. No use crying over spilled milk. My stomach twisted as I stared at him, unable to process his complete lack of remorse. For years, he'd skated by on Charn, talking his way out of trouble. Not anymore. This time, he'd gone too far. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling while Paul's words echoed in my mind, "You'll make it. Back in no time." How could he act so casually after stealing from me? I'd worked for years to save that money, and he'd spent it all on a whim. Finally, I got out of bed and grabbed my laptop. Logging into my credit card account, I scrolled through the transactions, my stomach in knots. There they were, $7,500 at a home improvement store, $12,000 for roofing supplies, $5,500 on landscaping. Every charge was more proof of his selfishness. I clicked through the details, searching for anything that could give me leverage. My heart pounded when I saw the shipping addresses. Every one pointed to Paul's house. Suddenly, I felt a hint of vindication. It was no longer just suspicion. I had evidence. The next morning, I called the bank to report the fraud. The representative listened patiently as I described everything. The stolen card, the unauthorized charges. Do you know who made the transactions? She asked. Yes, I replied, my voice steady. It was my father. There was a pause before she continued. We'll need to escalate this to our fraud investigation team. They may need more information, and law enforcement could get involved depending on the details. Law? Enforcement? The words hit me like a punch. That's not how I wanted this to go. But what choice did I have? Paul had left me no other option. If he thought he could get away with this just because we were family, he was about to be proven wrong. Later that day, I told my best friend, Maya, what had happened. She listened quietly as I vented, her expression growing darker. That's incredibly selfish, Live, she finally said. You have to hold him accountable. He can't keep treating you like this. I know, I sighed, running my hand through my hair. But he's my dad. It feels so messy. Messy or not? This isn't just about money, Maya said. It's about respect and he clearly doesn't respect you. Her words hit me hard. She was right. This was about boundaries, something I should have set a long time ago. The next day, I found myself at my kitchen table, staring at the fraud report I'd filed. Paul had crossed the line so many times, but this time was different. His smug face at dinner replayed in my mind, how he acted like I was overreacting. It was time to confront him. I wasn't sure what I expected, maybe an apology, maybe a little remorse. Instead, I got a lesson in deflection. When I arrived at his house, Paul was outside admiring his freshly landscaped yard. Looks great, doesn't it? He beamed. All thanks to you. My blood boiled. Thanks to me. You mean the $25,000 you stole from me? Paul sighed, shaking his head like I was the irrational one. Liv, we've talked about this. It's family money. I didn't steal it. I just borrowed it. Honestly, you're better off for Etha House needed work. I stared at him, stunned by his nerve. Borrowing means asking, Paul. You didn't ask, you just took. He crossed his arms, his expression hardening. You're young. You'll earn it back. Why make such a fuss? I'm your father. I've done so much for you, can't you let this go? Done so much for me. I repeated, my voice trembling. Like what? You've been taking from me my whole life. Pa. This is just the first time you got caught. His face darkened. Watch your tone. You're being ungrateful? I didn't have to raise you. You know I could have let your mother handle it alone. His words cut deep, but I wouldn't let him see me flinch. Ungrateful? I've spent years cleaning up your messes. I've forgiven so much, but this is too far. For the first time, Paul looked uneasy. What are you saying? Liv, are you really taking this outside the family? I already did, I said steadily. The fraud investigation is underway. The bank is involved. If you think I'll back down, you don't know me at all. The call from the bank's fraud team came early the next morning. Coffee in hand, I listened as the investigator, Mr. Bennett, explained what would happen next. We've reviewed the charges and details. He said, since the shipping addresses match your father's home, it's clear these transactions were unauthorized. We need a formal statement from you and will likely escalate to local authorities. The mention of local authorities made my stomach drop. Does that mean he could face charges? I asked. Yes, Mr. Bennett replied. It's theft. The amount makes it a serious offense. The police will determine next steps, but you should prepare for that outcome. I thanked him and hung up, hands shaken. This was really happening. For years, Paul had treated boundaries as merely suggestions, his charm letting him skate by. But now, his actions were catching up to him. I immediately called Maya to update her. He's going to lose it when the police get involved, I said, pacing the living room. What if it ruins our relationship forever? Maya was blunt. Liv, what relationship? He's walked all over you for years. Every time you let it slide, he pushes further. This isn't about ruining anything. It's about protecting yourself. Her words hit me like a slap. I'd spent so long trying to keep the peace, afraid to rock the boat, I hadn't realized how much I'd given up. I don't want to feel like this anymore, I admitted, my voice cracking. Every time I stand up for myself, I feel like the bad guy. You're not the bad guy, Maya said firmly. You're the only one. Holding him accountable, that takes guts, Liv. Don't let him twist it. Her words stayed with me. This wasn't about the money anymore. It was about drawing a line. Paul needed to learn that actions have consequences, even if it meant a fraud investigation. I called Mr. Bennett back. I'll file the statement today, I said. The fallout came quickly. That evening, as I sat down to dinner, my phone lit up with Paul's name. I hesitated, knowing this conversation wouldn't be easy. Olivia, he snapped. I just got off the phone with the bank. Are you serious? You actually filed a fraud report against me. Yes, Paul, I said, my voice unwavering. You stole $25,000 from me. What did you expect? His voice grew defensive. I didn't steal it. It's family money. I was going to pay you back eventually, but now you've made this a federal case. Do you know what kind of trouble you're causing me? I didn't make this a federal case, I replied. You did. The moment you took my card. Actions have consequences. He was quiet for a moment. Then his tone turned cold. You're being ridiculous. You're blowing this out of proportion to prove a point. What's next? Are you going to drag me to court? If that's what it takes, I shot back. You've spent years ignoring my boundaries. This isn't about proving a point, it's about protecting myself. You're unbelievable, he hissed. After all I've done for you, this is how you repay me. I laughed bitterly. Done for me. Like what? Paul, taking credit for my success. Borrowing money you never repaid, or running off and leaving me with your messes. There was silence, then a chilling response. You'll regret this, Olivia. He hung up, leaving me trembling with anger and fear. This was why I'd spent years avoiding conflict with Paul. Every time I stood up for myself, he found a way to make me feel like the villain. Later, I called Maya. He actually said, I'll regret this, I told her, voice tight. Let him stew, she said. He's just mad. He's finally being held to account. Don't let him scare you into backing down. Her reassurance helped, but the anxiety lingered. I wasn't backing down, but I knew this wasn't over. 2 days later, I got the call. I dreaded it. Wasn't Paul this time, but my mom. The moment, I answered. Her angry voice came through. Olivia, what are you doing? Your father called me in a panic. He says you're trying to ruin his life. I took a breath, bracing for the guilt trip. I'm not ruining his life, Mom. He stole $25,000 from me. I reported the fraud because that's what you do when someone takes your money. He's your father, she snapped. Like that explained everything? And I'm his daughter, I said, struggling to keep calm. But that didn't stop him from stealing from me, did it? Mom sighed, her voice weary. You know how he is. Live. He doesn't mean harm, he just doesn't think. Couldn't you have handled this quietly, within the family? I can't believe you're saying that, I replied. He spent $25,000 of my money without asking. How was I supposed to handle that quietly? He's under a lot of stress with the house and bills. He didn't mean to hurt you. My jaw clenched. It's always excuses for him, isn't it? He's always under stress, or didn't think, or didn't mean it. Meanwhile, I'm left cleaning up his messes. Her voice softened into pleading. Please, just drop this. The investigation will destroy him? You know how he gets when he feels cornered? He's saying, you're turning the family against him. I closed my eyes, trying to fight the guilt and frustration. I'm not turning anyone against him. He did this to himself, and I'm not dropping it for the first time. She was silent. When she finally spoke, her voice was cold. Well, don't come crying to me when this all blows up in your face. You made your decision just. Remember that? She hung up, leaving me staring at my phone, her words weighing on me. I wanted to cry, but instead I called Maya. Mom thinks I'm overreacting, I said, pacing. Of course she does, Maya replied. She's enabled him her whole life. But this isn't about her. Liv, it's about you. You're doing the right thing. As much as I wanted to believe her, I couldn't shake the unease inside me. A week later, the investigation picked up speed. I got an update from the fraud department. All charges had been flagged as unauthorized and law enforcement notified. Mr. Bennett explained that the local police might contact me for a statement. The news brought both relief and anxiety. For years, Paul had managed to avoid consequences, always talking his way out of trouble, but now there was a paper trail, and it was out of my hands. That afternoon, while I sat in my office, my phone buzzed with a text from Maya. How's the fraud thing going? Any updates? I replied quickly. Bank is escalating it. Police will get involved soon. I'm nervous, but it's right. Her answer was immediate. Proud of you. You're stronger than you think. Her words gave me comfort, reminding me I wasn't alone. That evening, I drove to Paul's house. I hadn't planned to confront him, but I couldn't help myself. The closer I got, the angrier I became. When I knocked, he opened the door with a smug grin. Olivia! Here to lecture me again. No, Paul, I said evenly. I came to tell you the bank escalated the case. The police will be contacting you soon. For the first time, his smile faded, though he tried to hide it. The police? Come on. Live. You're not really letting it go that far, are you? It's not up to me anymore, I replied. You made this mess now. You have to face it. He crossed his arms, stepping back. You're really letting the police come after your own father for a misunderstanding. Stop calling it a misunderstanding, I snapped. You stole from me, Paul. This isn't about family, it's about you finally facing the consequences. His face darkened as he stepped closer. Don't act like you're better than me. You wouldn't even have that money if I hadn't raised you. I laughed coldly. Raised me? You mean used me as your personal ATM? That ends now. I turned and walked away, leaving him standing there, visibly shaken. The next few days were a whirlwind. The police called to schedule a meeting, asking Me to bring all documents, the fraud report, the transaction history, sitting in that small, sterile police station felt surreal as I handed over the papers. I wondered how Paul would handle being questioned by the authorities. "Thank you for your cooperation, Miss Taylor," the officer said. "We'll be contacting Mr. Taylor for his side." His side? I nearly laughed. Paul's version would be full of excuses. But this time, charm wouldn't save him. There was hard evidence, and no amount of talking could erase the paper trail. That evening, my mom called again, her voice sharp and accusatory. "The police showed up at your father's house. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was?" I sighed, bracing myself. "I warned you this was coming, Mom. He did this to himself. I didn't force him to steal my card." She ignored me. "He says you're ruining his life. How could you do this to your own family?" "I'm not ruining his life," I said. "I'm holding him accountable. If he didn't want this, he shouldn't have stolen from me." There was silence, then a heavy sigh. "You've made your point live, but don't you think this has gone far enough?" I swallowed the lump in my throat. "It's not about making a point. It's about boundaries. I've let him cross them for years, and I'm done. If you can't understand that, I don't know what else to say." She hung up without another word, leaving me with that same hollow feeling as before. Despite the tension, I felt an odd relief driving home that night. For the first time in years, I was finally standing up for myself. Paul had always assumed I'd forgive and forget, but now he was seeing that actions have consequences. The fallout from the investigation hit Paul harder than I'd expected. The police told him the evidence was solid, unauthorized transactions, shipping addresses, my fraud report. No amount of charm or excuses could get him out of this. When I learned he'd been officially charged with theft, I felt a mix of relief and sadness. As much as I wanted him to face consequences, it was still hard to see my father brought so low. Mom called that night, her voice trembling. "Your father's a mess. Liv, he's scared, doesn't know what to do." I took a breath. Maybe he should have thought of that before stealing from me. "You really won't help him?" she asked, almost pleading. "He's my father," I said, "but that didn't stop him from stealing. He's not the victim here. I'm done letting him play that card." She didn't argue. There was a long silence before she finally said, "I just hope you're okay." Her words surprised me. She'd always focused on smoothing things over for Paul, never asking how I was. "I'm fine," I said. "Actually, I'm better than fine. For the first time in a long while, I feel in control of my own life." After we hung up, I sat in silence, feeling the weight of everything settle. This wasn't just about $25,000 or a fraud report. It was about finally standing up for myself, drawing a line that wouldn't be crossed again. Paul had spent years taking advantage of my trust. For the first time, I'd said no. The process was difficult, but I felt closure beginning to settle in. The guilt that had haunted me was fading, replaced by something I hadn't felt in years. Pride. When the bank confirmed that the fraudulent charges had been reversed and the funds restored to my account, I felt the knot in my chest loosen. I'd done it. I'd stood up to Paul, navigated the family fallout, and reclaimed what was mine. The old me might have let it go, telling myself it wasn't worth the trouble. But this time, I drew a line and held it. Paul wasn't doing so well. According to Mom, he was negotiating a plea deal to avoid jail. He's devastated, she said, but I think he finally gets how much he hurt you. I wasn't so sure Paul had always played the victim when it suited him, but whether he understood or not didn't matter anymore. This wasn't about him, it was about me. In the weeks that followed, I felt a new clarity. My relationship with my mom was still strained, but I was okay with that. I wasn't going to tiptoe around Paul's ego or twist myself to keep the peace. Maya came over one night with a bottle of wine to celebrate. To you, she said, raising her glass. For proving boundaries are non-negotiable. We clinked glasses, and I laughed. I guess I needed a $25,000 wake-up call. Better now than never, Maya replied. You're stronger than you think, Liv. Don't forget it. In the following weeks, I threw myself into work with renewed focus. My savings was whole again, and the lesson would stay with me forever. Trust is earned, not given even with family. As for Paul, I didn't know what the future held for our relationship, but for the first time, I wasn't afraid to keep my distance. I wasn't afraid to say no. I'd taken back control of my life. And that was worth more than any amount of money.